What is going on, all of you Nintendo fans out there in the world? I am Mega Amp, so thank you for watching this video, whether you are a new or returning viewer. Appreciate you spending your time here. And I unfortunately realized at the last minute that I kind of already made a video talking about some similar stuff to what we're going to talk about here earlier this year. Don't watch that video, it's probably horribly outdated. It was like 8 months ago. But today, instead, I figured, you know what? I mean, everybody's talking about this. I feel like only throwing my hat into the ring when it feels right. And as of this recording, we are approaching Gamescom 2024. Tokyo Game Show is the following month. There might be a Nintendo Direct in September. And we know, as of now, that the successor to the Nintendo Switch is going to be announced sometime, ideally within the next 6 months, right? They said at the end of the Japanese fiscal year, which would be the end of March 2025, we will get an official announcement of the successor to the Nintendo Switch. So today, I wanted to kind of, not a top 5, it's not going to be like a organized ranked list, it's just going to be 5 big things that I would love to see in the Nintendo Switch successor. Kind of the 5 things that I would hope would at least be there. Some things that I really think will be there, just to be realistic, but also things that I hope would definitely be present there, as well as someone who, this is speaking from someone who's only owned like the base Switch model. I never got an OLED model. I just didn't feel like making the upgrade at the time. I didn't really have anybody I could sell my Switch secondhand to. So I've been working with the same base model since 2017 and working off of that, and it's been working well for me. But here are a few things that I definitely would like to see personally as improvements from the current Switch to the successor. A few honorable mentions that I jotted down but didn't make the list of 5 here. Kind of minor things for the most part. I think it'd be really cool to have a stylus. I know this is a stupid idea, but like, to some of you, I am primarily a handheld Switch gamer. So especially recently, I've been playing a lot of Persona 5. I play that 90% handheld, right? I know most people are very, like, keep it docked, but I'm a very, like, handheld-oriented gamer. Just works out for me. I get to play games more where I go. And having a stylus for the touchscreen, I don't know, kind of like the DS, because sometimes I feel weird if I'm usually utilizing the touchscreen. I want to utilize it more, but I feel weird if I like get my fingerprints on it, right? So having like a soft stylus, go back to like what the DS had with that stylus, I don't know, it could be kind of fun. I don't know. It's like I said, these are minor things before we get into the actual list. I am also assuming with this video, just as a clarification, that the successor to the Switch will be a hybrid system. Who's to say? I mean, if Nintendo was really dumb, they could go back on that and start doing consoles and handhelds separately again. I really think it's going to be another hybrid here, and probably pretty similar to the base Switch model here, but just, you know, more upgraded. Other minor things, something that I thought was kind of cool that I actually thought of recently because of listening to a podcast. Shout out to Click R3 podcast from Spawncast over there, talking about with Sony, with their subscription service, you can purchase the retro games outright, like PS2, PS1, and I believe the stream PS3 games. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. I would love a service like that for NSO, because like we used to have Virtual Console on the Wii, Wii U, and 3DS, and now we have NSO. But I don't know, I don't think Nintendo will do this, but having the ability to buy the games as well as opt into the service, I think could be great. I don't know how they would price it, but like just having that option would be really nice. Just a minor thing, like I said. Other minor things, listen, as someone who didn't get the OLED model of the Switch, having a launch model with the OLED screen would be fantastic. Based on the stuff we've heard, rumors, who knows for sure if any of it's real, doesn't seem like there's going to be one at launch, so that's why I didn't include it in the 5 list here, because I don't think it's really going to happen. Of course, a bigger screen I would love. I think that's kind of just going to happen regardless. For me, it's going to be an upgrade because I never got the OLED, which had the bigger screen. But I feel like it's going to be a size increase still from the OLED. We will see. Not a huge thing, but it would be nice to have. Finally, just a minor thing. I was thinking about this before because we've recently had rumors about, instead of like docking the Switch, you'll just stream it to like a box that connects to your TV, which, I mean, who knows with the latency how that could end up. But I feel like that would be cool to kind of bring back the concept from the Wii U of like dual screen gaming. When you're playing on the TV, I think that would actually get me to play more like TV gaming rather than just handheld. Like, for example, Wind Waker HD, if that ever shows up on Switch, like having the map on the gamepad while you're traversing on the main screen is honestly, like, that is a really cool feature, and that kind of functionality is locked to the Wii U. Kirby and Rainbow Curse, say what you will about only playing on the touchpad, is can be distracting to look between the two screens, but at the same time, I feel like it leads to some interesting innovation. I just don't know if third parties would use it very much, so may not happen, but it would be a cool option to have and maybe allow for Nintendo DS and 3DS on like the NSO service. But with that, that is all honorable mentions, all minor things. Let's jump into the actual list of 5 things that I definitely want for the successor to the Nintendo Switch. The first thing, like I said, these aren't ranked. These are all going to be hardware focused and like supplemental software focused, not game related at all. Except for one exception we'll get into, but it's really the hardware. First thing, of course, better performance. I think this is what everybody wants, right? I would love 4K as someone who owns a 4K TV, not OLED, but I own a 4K TV. That's kind of a minor thing, but it would just be nice to have considering the PS5 and the Series X can also output 4K. Of course, only when docked. There's no way they're going to get that handheld, and you don't need it handheld. I would love a consistent 1080p handheld, though, to really make it look nice and crisp. If that's doable, I'm not sure. I think it's just 720p now. I think it depends on the game. Let me know in the comments below what games do what resolution on handheld. But handheld, you don't need it as much as a bigger screen that you're sitting farther away from, like a TV. So having 4K for that would be great. And I mean, of course, the big thing for me is not even just the visuals, but like faster load times, right? Making games run at a smoother frame rate. But even not even just the games too, but like also like just software itself. Because like, yes, the opening menu, the home menu of the Switch is very snappy. But like, for example, the eShop is so slow to load stuff. It is absolutely crazy how slow that is. Maybe that's an improvement to the network they need. I guess that kind of leads into performance a little bit. As well as like that Nintendo, like NSO, whatever it's called, the My Nintendo account icon they added a little bit into the Switch's life cycle from the home screen. You access that thing is so slow. It's like, they really should make those a little bit snappier, and I hope they will. But also, of course, like performance in games, making games look better, run better, all that stuff, like, of course, would be fantastic. So I think that's something that everybody would agree they would hope would be on the next, on the Switch successor here. So that's one thing I definitely want to see. Probably the most out of anything. I just want to see the increase in performance. But also kind of related to performance is backwards compatibility. Now, there's been a lot of discussions back and forth on if, this is something that will be included, whether it will or won't be. Will it be like what Sony does, where they just re-release HD like remakes or remasters of games and pay full price for it? Maybe with like a $10 upgrade if you already own the original game to get the new version. Or will it just be you pop your cartridge into the Switch, or even your digital games just carry right over with the new Nintendo account system they have that can do that, and then it just works? I don't know what they'll do, but I mean, as someone who regularly goes back to play older games and is still like catching up, like for example, I'm finally now playing Persona 5 for the first time, and there are so many games on my current Switch that are on my backlog that I want to play, and I would love to just carry it over to the new system and have it play there. I don't know how that would work. There might have to be some caveats there, like at the very least, like the big first-party Switch games, right? To have those just natively playable if you bought it on the first Switch would be awesome. And I will say the nice thing about having NSO now is that we don't have to worry about rebuying like old school like virtual console games on the next system, right? Like that service will carry forward, so that'll be really nice. But in terms of like physical cartridges and even digital games, having that option to still play those older games from your current Switch onto the successor would just be great. As someone who likes to do that, I know not everybody cares, but as someone who likes to play, I call it like legacy gaming, but it's not even retro gaming, it's just the previous generation, carrying that forward would be great. So here's hoping they do that. Third thing I would like to see them do a lot is, and this is a big one too, improving the Joy-Con, right? There were all the lawsuits with Joy-Con drift and all the issues like that the Joy-Con specifically have had with those thumbsticks and just wearing out over time. There's something, definitely hardware nerds, correct me in the comments about how I'm explaining this, but there's something with like when you rotate the sticks, it's wearing out some like pads within the thumbsticks. And I've had to replace a few thumbsticks myself. They're a little tricky to replace, but I mean, I'm not a hardware expert. I've been able to do it with varying degrees of success. At the very least, like, use Hall Effect sticks, because those are really, really good. Hell, the Dreamcast had Hall Effect sticks, and those things lasted for quite a while. Or you could do let me know in the comments below, is it Xbox or Sony that has the controllers with the replaceable thumbsticks, which is still annoying. It's good that they make it easy to replace them, but it's annoying that they still wear out, So ultimately, like, having Hall Effect joysticks, or at least having them be like easily replaceable, would be nice, I think. I mean, honestly, they'd probably go the latter route in that case, because then they could charge you money for new thumbsticks. I don't know if they'll use Hall Effects, but just improve that in the Joy-Con. Make them less fragile, because they are definitely a little bit fragile. I know we've also heard like potential rumors about magnetic Joy-Con instead of physically sliding them on the track. I think that could be pretty cool. It makes me wonder if Nintendo would do that, because I could see that being like a hazard for children, like if they get like their fingers stuck like in between the magnets, because those are going to have to be pretty strong magnets to have the Joy-Con physically like stay on the Switch without like accidentally taking them apart in handheld mode, So that could be cool though. It definitely would be better and less. I still get a little nervous when sliding my Joy-Con into my Switch sometimes. I'm just nervous about like if it's gonna break on the snap on the track or something, you know? I had that issue happen with the Ring-Con actually for Ring Fit Adventure. Luckily, it wasn't the Joy-Con, it was the rail on the Ring-Con itself, but still, it like kind of like bent one way wrong. I was like, oh, and I got a little nervous. So magnetics Joy-Con would be great. There's other things you could do. We don't really need the IR camera. It's not really useful at all. I think the Rumble's great. Keep the Rumble. More games should use it. And honestly, like as little as people probably use it, I do like the sliding Joy-Con. I like the idea of sliding them off, handing one to another player. Because in cases where I can only bring my Switch as it is with the two Joy-Con, like sure, it's not ideal, but it works out well, especially for portable gaming and for travel. I guess it's really more applicable to someone like me because I do travel with my Switch a lot. Whereas if you're just playing, you know, at home, maybe not as much. But then again, you could just get like a Pro Controller and mainly use that. As someone who still uses the Joy-Con like this, holding them separately, it's like, I love that. I love it. So definitely some improvements, mainly the thumbsticks for sure, and some of the buttons and the attachment to the Switch itself that they can improve with the Joy-Con here. Number 4, this is a minor one, but still something that would be fun. And this might kind of hinder when I was talking about performance, but more customization options would be great. It's an aesthetic thing for sure, but like, remember with the 3DS, I mean, not only could you do custom face plates, they do have some custom editions of Switches, but you could like literally swap out the plates on the 3DS itself, not only in terms of the hardware, but also like the UI. I love on the 3DS, I mean, I have a few Sonic ones, of course. There's that Dreamcast UI theme that literally makes the Dreamcast noises when you like put it in sleep mode or select a game to play. I love that. Like, and you can literally sell them on the eShop or like via NSO or something, you know, like just having more customization options. I know they added like folders finally with the current Switch many years into its life cycle as a way to organize games, which is good. There are definitely ways they can clean that up and make it easier to put those folders in, but mainly just like custom UI themes. It's a little minor thing, but it's more, I don't know, it would be more appealing to me than some of the other ones that didn't quite make the cut of this ranked 5 list. Not ranked, but you know what I mean. Just a small little thing, have some more UI themes, base them off of third-party IPs, Nintendo IPs, you know, get fun with it, you know? It might hinder performance, like I said, so maybe that's why they didn't do it with the current Switch, just to make the UI snappier, which is more important. But I don't know, if it's possible and to not hinder the performance too much, add some customization, you know, especially like Splatoon theme would be great, you know? There's some really cool stuff they could do with different Nintendo IP and other third-party IP in terms of customization. So final thing on this list, this is also kind of like a major thing for me, is more built-in storage. Right? I know this is kind of like, a lot of these are like common things that you would want for successors, but especially now that memory is getting cheaper and cheaper, you know, as time goes on. What is that, Moore's Law? Let me know in the comments below. I don't know if that's the right one. It's one of those, right? It's just, what is the base Switch right now? Is it 16 or 32 gigabytes? I think max on the base Switch is 32. It's definitely, it might be 32. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I think the newer version, maybe the OLED has 64, but like, games are getting bigger and bigger. Even Nintendo games, like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, and I know they can like compress them onto cartridges and stuff, and they work some magic to make it not a huge file size, but especially third-party games. Like if Nintendo wants to keep supporting third parties on the Switch Successor, you gotta have more built-in storage for it. Like yes, you could buy micro SDs to expand that storage for sure, but especially when you first buy the system, you're most likely not gonna buy a micro SD card. At least I'll wait to, at least personally, I'll fill up the current memory size and then buy expansions if I need to. But I have 2 micro SDs for the current Switch, and especially now as you know games are getting more digital, we're having less physical cartridge space, less compression needed on those cartridges, and a lot of games are going only digital. It's like we need more memory than ever. So I don't know what the right size would be. I would love, I mean, I don't even know what's technically feasible. I'm just not knowledgeable in that area in terms of how much storage they could put in here. Like I don't see how we could get like a terabyte of storage base on the Switch. You know, if they want to charge extra for a more premium version with more internal storage, like great. It's just with how the game industry is trending, I think having more internal storage is more important than ever these days, with going digital and just games getting bigger in scope and bigger in file size. I think it's important to have that. So that's pretty much it. That's going to do it for the 5 things that I definitely want for the Switch Successor. I know some of these aren't super fun. Mostly realistic stuff that I think for most of these we will see. The custom UI is the one I probably won't. But just to reiterate, definitely better performance, visuals, frame rate, network, all that stuff. That's the big thing. Having native backwards compatibility would be awesome. I don't know if that's going to happen. I feel like it's likely, but it's also, they can go a different route. But having that as someone who plays older Switch games would be great. The new Joy-Con, at least Hall effect sticks, improving the durability of them and how they attach to the Switch would be great. Having custom UI themes would be amazing. I don't think they'll do that. That's such a minor thing, though. It's not important. So if that's the one thing that doesn't happen on this list, that's fine with me. And then finally, like I said before, more built-in storage. Just with digital games and everything these days, it's important to have enough storage built in when someone first buys the console to be able to at least buy the games they want to buy that are coming out with the launch, you know? So that is going to do it for this list. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on the 5 points I talked about here, as well as the little honorable mention and minor things before I started the list. Let me know what your most wanted features for in terms of the hardware and kind of like the supporting software of the Switch Successor would be. Definitely let me know. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, because there's probably some stuff I didn't think of here. But with that, thank you all so much for watching. I will catch you all in the next video or live stream. Hopefully we don't have too much longer to wait, at most like 6-7 months until this thing gets announced. So we will see how that goes down. All right, take care, everybody.